Ah, ya estás empezando.
Honey, we started about 5 minutes ago. We don't mess around. Today I'm with a very good friend of mine that I haven't seen in forever. Susan, how are you?
I'm good. It's good to be here. You're
How-
such a podcaster now.
Let me tell you something. Do you like the setup, by the way?
I love the setup. I love that you have my matcha latte.
Well, let's talk about this matcha situation.
Yeah.
Okay, because when I asked you to come I was like, do you drink coffee? You want no coffee? I don't do coffee. You don't do coffee?
I'm sensitive to
I
caffeine.
understand.
So I normally don't drink coffee.
Is
in the
cocaine okay?
mornings.
No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe,
Yeah,
depends.
sure.
International.
International, sure.
But, if I go to Starbucks, I'll get a matcha latte.
Okay.
But normally I'm a juice drinker in the mornings.
I understand.
I fast. I drink green juice.
Yes. Well, you were nice enough to come from all the way, like miles away to come to my office, and I really appreciate it. But how you been? Last time I saw you was, for all of those who are listening to us, you are an artist.
Yeah.
Last time I saw you, it was a gallery event that you had downtown, and it was magnificent, and it was great. Do you still do that? Are you still painting? Is that or are you waiting for the muse to hit? Tell us about it.
That was a long time ago.
That was.
A very, very long time ago. Yeah, actually, I still paint. I would say that right now it's not a priority of mine because I'm focused on other projects, but I'm actually planning an art show.
Okay.
So hopefully sometime after the cold weather passes.
What is it with this cold weather?
I know, it's so cold.
Yeah.
So maybe spring, maybe April. But this time I will actually sell my art.
Yeah.
Because in the past I've never wanted to.
Why?
Because I have an emotional connection with them.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
No,
It's
that
like
makes
you
a
have
lot
your
of sense.
kids, right? Well, you have a dog.
I have a doggy. I would never sell him.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
you
He's a
build
baby.
a connection with the paintings. And once you sell that painting, it's no longer yours. And I like what I create. So
When you do those paintings, do you do them just for you, or were you ever thinking, maybe at one point I get rid of them and I'll sell them? Is that your thought process, or is that never your thought process?
no, I started painting by accident.
Okay.
Like I had a project that in high school that they made me do where they were like, we would like for you to create an abstract drawing. We were going through this philosophy of abstract irrationalism, and I went to Michael's and grabbed a canvas and asked the lady, what do I need to paint? Because I've never been a drawer or anything. Long story short, I painted and I felt this freedom.
Yeah, sure.
Weird.
Sure,
I didn't know what I was painting because it was abstract, so it was all over the place.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, it's been, 23 years that I've been painting.
That's awesome.
And I've just painted because I like to do it. It's a way where when I'm painting, I don't think about anything else.
You can just focus on
And
what
there's
you're doing.
many very little things that we can do that we forget our focus and we forget about things that are going on in our daily lives. So painting for me is one of those things that I can just zone out.
It relaxes you. It's your own time. You're own by yourself. You also have worked for the Wynn for a long time.
17 years this month.
And you travel the world. I think you, and then my brother, but you, number one, are the person that I've known that travels like incredibly. How many countries have you visited in your life?
76.
I didn't even know there were 76 countries in the world. What is wrong with you? 76.
I think there's about 197 or 98.
You would know, honey. You would know. 76 countries.
76 countries.
Well, tell us a little bit about that. Is that okay? Can you
Of
talk
course.
about? 76. What is the one country that you go? This is my country. I'm sure you have plenty, but
It's so
top five.
hard to
top
say
five.
that because I think that, top five, I think, so Japan is definitely up there. I know
Yeah,
you went to Japan.
I loved it.
I love Japan. I love Mexico.
Yeah.
Mexico is one of my favorite countries as well.
2 for 2. I've gone to those two countries.
I love Iceland.
All right, now you're getting.
Iceland is
come
someplace everybody has to go to.
on. Okay.
I really liked my time in Jordan. Yeah.
Why? Tell us about that. Why Jordan?
Well, one, I went during the war when there was a war going on
Yeah.
in Syria, and
Yeah.
everyone was telling me not to go because I'm a woman and I'm alone.
Right. Right.
But I always go when people tell me not to. I do the opposite.
Okay. Okay.
So I went, and I think that Jordan was one of my favorite countries because it felt like I had arrived in a place where people were my family.
They were embracing you as their own.
100%. And a lot of the person that I traveled with, in that case, I hired an actual tour guide
Yeah.
who went with me. I went through the whole country. I went all around the country. And in the camps, the workers, the people who worked there, invited me to their homes. And it wasn't a home that had walls.
Like a home, right?
It was
like
a
their
tent.
home. Yeah.
It was their home.
Yeah.
And they served me tea, and they told me their stories, and they shared with me their world. And I was thinking to myself, why are they sharing this?
Why they're
Like,
so
I'm
nice.
just a stranger.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
why they're
just
so
a
nice.
foreigner, a stranger. And I think that for me, it made me realize that people are genuine about sharing their own stories and about being vulnerable and about like just taking you in.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that because how many times have you come out of your house here and do you know your neighbors?
No, well, that's the thing about different cultures. Where I'm from in Mexico, we all knew the neighbors, right? It was a thing that it was like,
Yeah.
it became friends because I've been doing real estate for 20 years, and I could ask most of my clients, they don't know who their neighbors are. I mean, it's just, do you know your neighbors?
Well, I actually just moved to downtown for
Yeah.
that same reason
Yes.
because there's more of a community there.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
And my neighbors, like, they throw a brunch every weekend. And they have a Facebook group and they post it. And I was like, where have I been living all my life? Like, nobody knew.
It's well, where you live is very artsy. As a matter of fact, one of those neighborhoods there. If you want to remodel those homes, you have to keep the standard of those
Yes.
architects that originally built those homes, and they've done some amazing things. So that is awesome. So you're in Jordan. There was some conflict at the time. Were you in any danger at one point? Did you feel safe at all times? I know you were embraced by the people there, so maybe you didn't see or didn't feel what it was actually happening there sometimes?
I think the only thing that I felt was probably as a woman,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of men were looking at you because
Yes.
one, you're by yourself,
Right.
and two, they can see that you're a foreigner. But I never received any like disrespect or looking at me in a way. They were just looking because I think they were thinking, wow, like
Why are
a
you-
woman.
what are you doing here?
Because, you know, they really protect their woman and their culture.
Right.
So it's completely different, right?
Right.
I'm here traveling with a man who's my tour guide,
Yeah.
and I'm by myself.
It's already like very weird to them. I'm not weird, but rare
Yeah.
to them for them to see that. So you have Jordan, you have Mexico, Japan,
Iceland,
Iceland.
and then what would be my fifth? It's so hard.
70 some countries. I mean, that's a lot of countries.
I would say Peru as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Peru is a beautiful country. I spent like 16 days there.
Okay.
And then I also did, I went there to do ayahuasca.
Well, okay. See, now we're talking into something. Now we're talking into something that I'm interested in.
Oh, you are?
Well, listen, I'm here for spiritual guidance, and why not? Tell us that experience because we were in a family gathering not too long ago, and my aunt says, "I want to, I want to go to a ceremony and try it." Is that how you did it, or did you just do it, or was
So-
there no ceremony?
I did it
Oh.
in 2014, I think. And
Okay.
now ayahuasca is such a tourist trap
It's a touristy trap.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
So
sure.
you have to be very careful.
Yeah.
When I went, I did it because how people say, the mother called me. The mother ayahuasca called me.
It's supposed. You know who I heard say that? It's Santana.
Oh, really?
Carlos Santana is a big ayahuasca
He's
guy.
done it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So in an interview that he did back in the 90s, he goes, "Man, ayahuasca has to call you. Like it has to call you." And tell us about that experience. Did you trip? Were you tripping big time or?
So my journey was a little bit different. I went to a center in Peru because I felt like, yes, you can do it in the U.S., yes, you can do it in Mexico, but the plant grew in the Amazon jungle. So I wanted to be.
You want to go to the
there,
original where
to
it
the
is.
original place, and I did it in a center where there was nurses, psychologists, and they guided you. You know, I had to do a diet before I went. There was a silent treatment, not silent treatment, but you needed to go through like a silent few days before you entered into doing the plant medicine. So I felt safe, and the plant tells you to do an intention behind it.
Sure.
I didn't research much about it because
Yeah.
I didn't want.
Get freaked out about it.
I didn't
too.
want my mind to be freaked out.
Yeah.
I had never done any psychedelics or drugs.
Yeah.
So it was a first time for me. And when I got there, I guess what the shaman said is that I am someone that is very strong. So it was hard for me to surrender. So everyone had their journey in my group,
Their
and
own
I was
little
still sitting there 6 hours in.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened
What?
the first time. And
Did you do more?
so, yeah, you could drink more of the brew. It's like a tea that they
Yeah.
give you, a brew. And the shaman came over and he helped me release that no surrendering that I didn't want to do, right?
Yeah.
And he started singing what they call Icaros.
Okay.
And it's these songs that help you sort of go through the journey. And then after that, I think on my 8th hour, which I don't know how, most people's journeys are 6 to 8 hours and they're done, right?
Right.
I was able to see my visions and to go through the experience.
Did you at one point when you were going on that trip, do you feel like a little nauseated? Do you have to? Because I've heard that you some people throw up, or if some people have some bad
Yes.
things going in their life, it also kind of represents getting rid of those things. Well, throwing up
Yeah,
and
so
all that stuff.
for me, after the 8th hour, I actually threw up.
Yeah.
I didn't have to go to the bathroom. I think people get scared because they think that you're just gonna
Yeah.
go in your pants.
Yeah.
But no, you're conscious enough
Sure.
to walk to the bathroom,
Yeah.
and the nurse helps you if you need to do that.
Yeah.
But no, for me, it was just
The throwing up.
the throwing up. And then that was the first day, and obviously I went on my journey, and then I did it 5 times after that for the next days.
For the next days.
Yes.
Okay.
And talking about ayahuasca is a long story, but to define
have
it in a
time.
very
We have time.
to define it in a very summary, that's when I became vegan.
I remember that. Yes. Okay.
And I was vegan
understand.
for 9 years.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
And for me, the world changed because I think I was someone that held my emotions a lot throughout life. I didn't want to showcase them to the world.
Sure. You're private.
I don't know about private. I think I saw unconsciously that like showing your emotions was a sign of weakness.
I can see that.
And I would just do it by myself.
Yeah.
And try. And I was a little cold to the
Did you
exterior world.
alienate yourself by thinking that way with friends, family?
I don't think I alienated myself because I think people like my energy and they like who I am. But I think that people maybe recognize that, someone was telling me that
Or a little closed off.
a little closed off on emotions.
Yeah.
Or if something happened to someone, I would just be like, oh. But then that changed me, that journey.
Yeah.
Because the visions and what I experienced made me realize that it's okay to show emotion.
Yes.
And in fact, if you ask Susan today, I think vulnerability and being vulnerable is a superpower.
Right. No, because you're putting your stuff out there. I mean, that's hard. That's very hard. That's very hard to do. You go through the trip. You become a vegan for 9 years. And while you're doing this, you're traveling still. You're meeting all
Always
the cultures.
traveling.
Oh, you're always traveling, like 75 countries. How has meeting other cultures and seeing other, other people interact in their own environment has shaped the way you see things? Because I know my brother he also travels a lot, and he says, Chris, you don't understand. You have one perception of what life is, but it's not until you travel that you start learning other things and seeing life are completely different. And I didn't really get it. And I was like, well, no, you probably don't have a very good life here. I always defended that until I traveled. And then I said, okay, I understand. You traveling 70 plus countries, where are you on that? I know you bought a house, congratulations. Do you see yourself staying here in Vegas? Do you see yourself moving? Because now that I'm opening to the experience of it, I go, yeah, maybe I would live somewhere else. Where at one point in my life, it would have never been. You know.
I think, after living in Vegas for 18 years, to be quite honest with you, it's just starting to feel like home.
Okay.
Because you have to think about it. For like 13 years straight, I traveled
You
every
were
3
everywhere.
weeks.
You were everywhere.
So I was never really here in Vegas. So even though I lived here, I never really had a close knit group of friends, or I had, things that I do, because when I would get here, it was the weekend and I would just rest and then I would pack again to leave.
Always work.
So
Always
now
working.
that I'm not traveling as much, it's starting to feel like home. Like I can have a routine.
can
Or
have
now
a
that I live in my neighborhood, my neighbors are friends of mine and we go bike riding, we do things. Like there's more of a routine. But I would say, like, back to your question I think in America, I'm from Chile.
Yes.
I was born in Santiago. But I think here in America, people live in a bubble.
Yeah.
I think if you don't leave your country, no matter where you live in a bubble.
I agree with that.
And I think that, our parents show us our ways of doing life and certain
Based
cultures,
on their experiences too.
experiences, religion, whatever
Yeah.
it is. But when you break out of that and you go to these other travel places, you start learning other cultures and you start seeing life from a different perspective.
Absolutely.
So your mind opens up. You're not closed-minded.
You're not close-minded anymore. No, and that's I think I'm guilty of that when I would get into these conversations with Ivan. It was like, no, you don't understand, and I go, no, and I would defend it. And by the way, I still do. I love Las Vegas. Don't kid yourself. The Vegas is the shit. However, traveling to other places, seeing other cultures, seeing other rhythms of life too, because here in Vegas, at least for myself, it's you're on all the time. There's, you really have to take care of, if you want to take a day off, it has to be planned. It's got to be, versus in some other countries, there's a little bit, and then again, I went on vacation, so I really don't know the structure as much as you do because you've been going there longer. But in some items, they seem a little bit more relaxed, and it's very appealing. It's very appealing to me. Now that you're here, why did you travel so much? I know you travel because of work, but what did your job entail? Why travel? What you work for the Wynn? What was your gig?
So I still work for the Wynn, and I handle the international markets there.
Okay.
What that means is, obviously, the casino gets full with casino players, convention, and then there's their leisure segments, which is what me and my team handles. And basically with that is we work with third-party companies like tour operators, airlines, OTAs, online travel agencies like Expedia, and we basically sell them a wholesale rate so that they can build a bundled package and travel to the hotel. But in together with that, Wynn doesn't do a lot of international marketing, so we are actually the face of the brand. Because when I'm going to the markets that I handle, like Australia and Asia, we're also promoting the presence and building our brand in those markets so that people can recognize our hotel and can choose the Wynn outside of any other hotel in Las Vegas. Right. So obviously, because I've handled different markets over the years, the Wynn actually gives me the opportunity that if I want to travel to Asia for my business trip and stay longer,
you can.
As long as the flight is the exact same price, obviously I'm responsible for anything after that.
Sure.
But
that's great.
I mean, it's great.
That's great.
And I always thought when I first started to do this job, which was been 17 years ago, I thought, okay, if I don't take advantage of this means that I have to go by myself. Right? Because most people don't like to travel alone. They wait till their friends come, boyfriend, husband, whatever it is. It's hard to break that line to say, hey, I'm going to travel to this international destination by myself. Yeah. But I thought, if I don't do it...
We talked about you the other day, by the way. Ivan and I go, Susan goes there by herself. And he goes, I know, that's insane.
Well, he does too, no?
Well, he's a dude.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Because one of the things that when we went to Japan, it felt very safe.
I love that you took your parents, by the way.
Well,
that's
by
a
the way,
dream of mine.
That's a big shout out to my brother Ivan. He has been incredible at taking my parents. He took him to Europe.
I love that.
He took him to. Didn't he see you in?
Oh yeah, him and I bumped into each other in Italy.
Was it in Italy?
But he was on loan. He wasn't with your
He
parents.
wasn't with my parents. Okay, so he took me to Italy, Europe, Italy, and then Japan, and then they just
That's
went to
great.
Ireland and Scotland, and they're the ones who told me my parents. Ivan came in, and my parents came in, and they go, "You need to go to Japan." And I go, "Fucking Japan!" Like, but even when I was there, I was because you told me, and my dad and I were discussing this. There's two types of travelers. There's the traveler, and then there's the tourist. I'm a tourist. Let me tell you what that is.
Yeah, tell me,
Let me
please.
tell you, I mean, I know you've been doing it for 72 countries, but let me tell you what I do, what I believe
Okay.
traveling for me, which is completely different than my parents and Ivan and my girlfriend. I like a nice hotel. You see, I wake up in the morning. I don't have to go explore. I can Google this shit. I go, I got a little manicure done, get my little coffee, and I take my time. And I take up, I'm a tourist. I do touristy shit. My brother, my dad, and my mama, completely different. My girlfriend, she wants to go to the pyramids and do explore. I am completely not into that kind of situation. I'm a tourist. I do touristy shit. Are you a tourist or are you a traveler?
I'm a traveler.
Okay, are you?
However,
Yes,
I think that you could combine both.
absolutely.
Because
then when they
I
make
like
you,
to
when
stay
they
at
make you,
nice hotels.
yes,
But I can also stay in a capsule for $20 a night.
I understand that. You're a gangster like that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you have to experience all of it, right?
That's what my brother says. I don't. I want it. Okay, I am too fancy in my own life to suffer in any situations. I remember we're doing the walk, and the iPhone tells you how many walks,
Yeah.
and we're like at 28,000. I go, this is a nightmare.
Yeah.
This is a nightmare, and I go, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going back to the hotel, and my dad is like, you're going back to the hotel? It's like 8 p.m. I said, well, we've been walking for 12 hours.
Yeah.
I'm done. And he goes, well, we're still gonna go see the the Eiffel Tower, the Tokyo Tower in Japan, and all that stuff. You sure you don't want to see the Tokyo Tower? I go, no, I'm okay. They all went to the Tokyo Tower. I got in a Uber, and I went to the hotel. And you know what I did? I went to this very nice hotel that we were staying, had a shower, turned the computer, responded to some emails, and I enjoyed my time in the
time
hotel
there.
in Japan
Yeah.
while they were suffering walking. But they say they loved it. No, it's great. So you are multifaceted, meaning you can do the very touristy stuff, but if it comes down to it, you get to the spots for $20 and sleep on a little pill at the
Yeah.
airport.
I think the older I get, the more, I wouldn't say tourist is the right word, but like I would say that I don't have to see everything. I used to travel to places where
very
I
smart.
would literally, like, let's say I spent 6 days in France the first time that I went there. I wanted to see everything. But now, because I have my Aura ring and I take care of my health, I know that I cannot give 6 days of
What's
my.
an aura ring?
Oh, this is this is like the relationship that I have. I'm married to my wellness.
Shit.
Do you? Well, you have a? Is that? Oh, you have a marriage.
No.
Marriage.
Well,
ring?
hold on. Let me tell you what this is. Okay. Let me tell you what this is. I met this beautiful girl. Yeah, I met this beautiful girl, and it was our first trip. And by the way, I love Cancun. I'm a creature of habit. I go to Cancun, Mr. Korea.
I
would
always
you like
see
a
you
trip?
there.
Listen, this is the only way to go.
Yeah.
Because I have a very limited time. So went to Cancun, and I had met this girl. This was 8 years ago, not 9 years ago. And it was our second vacation together, and we went into this little silver place, because they have silver place, and I said, well, I cannot afford a diamond ring right now, right? But I can afford a silver ring right now with Mexican pesos, and we both bought them, and I said, look, this is just a promise to you that I really like you, man. I really dig you, and then we both got one, and she lost it right away because she didn't give a fuck. And then I got it, and then I got mine. You didn't know shit. She did lose it for a little while. But tell us about yours. Married to Wellness. I agree with all of that stuff. Is that a commitment that you did on to yourself, or how does that
No,
work?
so I mean, this is going into a whole different subject, but for me, I actually experienced panic attacks about 3 years ago.
Girl, tell me that
Yeah.
experience because I share mine with you.
So for me, I always thought of myself as a very resilient person because I was always very healthy. I grew up with my mom. She's very holistic. But in 2022, I went through some really like life-changing moments. I broke out of a long relationship and I wasn't happy with my job.
Yeah.
Like I felt like my purpose was missing. And I
Yeah.
think that I put all of Susan into this relationship,
Yeah.
which
Mistake.
like no,
Mistake.
never to do that again, but
Yeah.
we learn. And I like didn't know who I was afterwards. And I think that after I ended that, I put my body into so much stress that one day sitting, getting my teeth whitening,
Oh, that's horrible, by the way. teeth
my
whitening.
my heart rate started going up and up and up. And I was like, whoa,
Horrible.
this has never happened to me. Like, am I having a heart attack? Had my friend take me to the ER. Nothing was wrong with me. But ever since day, my life completely changed because the next day I needed to get on a flight to go to a conference
Ugh.
in Florida. And for the first time in my life, I experienced panic attacks. And I realized that that's what it was, given that everything else had been checked off
You
green.
were great.
And I was in the hotel room and I literally felt like I was going to pass out, fall on the floor, and nobody was going to find me. It's this feeling that if you haven't had a panic attack, you don't know what I'm
hard to
talking
describe.
about.
It's hard to
It's
describe.
hard to describe. But I literally had to have security come and keep me company while I, was
it easy.
breathing through
Yeah.
my thing. So after that, I didn't know how to go about this. And of course, I went to a doctor and he was like, here are the pills,
Immediately, right?
antidepressants,
Super
right?
fast. Yeah.
And I said, absolutely not, because I always research what I take. And I said, there's no way that the woman who, paraglides
Yeah.
is now afraid
panic
to
attack.
get into a plane
Yeah.
and is afraid to go into a hotel room and be by herself. Like, I can't live like this. So after that, I went in on this journey of learning about holistic care. And, I invested in taking mushrooms, like functional mushrooms, and really focused on like the alcohol that I was drinking, the sugar, what I was eating. And I started to meditate daily.
Isn't that amazing how what you eat and all of that actually affects your aura and your body and all
100%.
that stuff?
Yeah.
So you tried some holistic stuff. You tried mushrooms. I've read a lot about that. I think that's it's kind of helping a lot of people, and it helped you.
Yeah, so 6 months after that, this was June of 2022. After October of that year, I haven't had a panic attack since.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's because of meditating and because now, panic
You're more
attacks
aware.
come from you because your mind, your stress, the negative thinkings, and you have to do a habit, right? It's like people don't just get obese overnight.
No,
It builds up.
It's a reflection of your life choices
It's
every
the same
day.
thing for your
Yeah, for your
mind.
mind,
Like
yeah.
your mind needs gym as well, and that gym is you have to
No,
you have to
and
train
you-
the muscle.
Absolutely.
Meditate, like pray, whatever form of spiritual like practice you have to just sit with being still at some points.
How you mentioned that you were going through a hard breakup, and we don't have to go into that if you don't want to, but
I'm an open book.
okay, you're like www dot. Traveling as much as you travel, is that a hard thing to keep and I know you don't travel as much, but you still do. Is that a hard thing to keep a relationship going? Somebody that is understanding of your career, how do you navigate through that? Or did that have any effect at all in your
No,
relationship?
funny enough, like that relationship started in 2019, so then COVID hit, and then
COVID
obviously
is rough.
it changed everything because then our travel changed. So me traveling was twice or 3 times a year. But no, specifically in that relationship, it was more of the personal development that person had not done in their life.
And
the-
you were
mine,
already
I
in a
was-
different place.
Yeah, and I think it was playing a role in our relationship. I'm not saying that I wasn't guilty of certain factors that, made the relationship not succeed. But I think, you mirror the person that you're with in life is a mirror to you, and it's going to open up everything that you yourself need to fix.
Sure.
Or at least be aware of.
Sure.
And if you're not ready for that, then it's always going to end up breaking up, because
There's
you
no
need
future.
you need someone that wants to do the work individually and also collaborate with you as a person and accept you, right?
Yeah.
So no, after that relationship, I haven't had a longer relationship ever since. So I can't say that traveling is a factor, but I would say that for me, if I ever get in a relationship, the person's going to have to understand that Susan's going to want to do her solo travel. I'll love traveling with a person, but it's nothing like going by yourself somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
You're good with being by yourself.
Yes.
A lot of people are not.
And
I
for
hate-
me to be a good person that shows up in the relationship, I need my alone time.
Okay.
So whoever comes along needs to understand that. And yeah, you make it work, right?
You do. I mean, definitely if everybody has to be, as far as personal development is concerned, you gotta both be on the same place, or at least work on your own, and the other people, when somebody else sees that your couple or your partner is working on themselves, it's a good thing. It's like, oh, okay,
100%.
they're getting to be where they need to be and all that stuff, and but relationships are hard to begin with.
They are, but I also think that they are what breaks you open and how you learn about yourself.
Yes.
I've learned more about myself in my relationships than by myself.
Oh, 100%. No, well, like you said, they're who you're with is like a little reflection of who you are, and it kind of shows a little bit of what you is, right? It's like, okay, this is what the situation. Did the person that you were with, did he live here in Vegas, or was he somebody that was out of the?
No, actually, that person lived in Florida.
Okay.
And we had a long distance relationship. But it was one of those relationships where I was giving it all and I wasn't receiving
You
the
weren't
same
receiving.
back.
It wasn't.
And he wasn't a bad person. It's just I think that we were in two different stages of life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you can't receive breadcrumbs from a relationship. You have
No,
to
it's gotta
receive
equal.
like the
It's gotta equal.
whole-
The energy has to
Yeah,
be the same.
exactly.
The energy has to be the same.
So I learned my lessons from that.
Sure. I think that's the great part about moving to the next relationship is if you can get something out of the relationship that you had, then move forward to the next one, and hopefully we will learn and we learn. I believe I believe I after the relationships that I've had, I met somebody that was like, this one works, and it's been working so far.
And you
Knock on
make
wood.
it work. I
And
mean,
and by the way, but it's a daily work.
100%.
It's a daily work routine.
I admire the people that are out there and actually portray their vulnerabilities about the relationship, because there's no relationship that is perfect.
No.
No. Nowadays, you hear a lot of people, podcasters, they talk
Yeah.
about their relationships. I actually, you should follow Danny Morel.
Danny Morel.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll send it to you on
Okay.
Instagram.
Okay.
He actually is a person that he's Latin, and the guy he hosts these spiritual awakening things where people go, and seminars of like to awaken. But he also has a podcast with his now wife called Finding the One, and it's beautiful. Like I went through it like a telenovela.
Right.
Because they literally showcase what was going on in their relationship and how they went from like not wanting to be in a relationship to wanting to be to now married, and the things that come up, like airing their laundry.
Airing the laundry.
Yeah.
Well, you've been saying, you said it a couple of times in this podcast, is how showing your vulnerability. How do you say it?
Vulnerability. It's such a
word,
it's like
man.
I know.
It's even hard to say. It's not even a thing that I want to say. Vulnerability. Shit. But kind of airing your problems in a podcast, I mean, that's huge. That you're definitely showing the world. Is that better? What do you think of? Okay, so I've been watching some posts, and of course this is social media, so take it for what it is. But I'm watching some posts, and I don't know if I agree with it or disagree with it, where if you see a couple posting a lot of, oh, I'm in love, this is the love of my life, and shit like this, that they're really not having a good time. They're posting. Is that true? Or, by the way, I don't know. Most of the people that I follow on Instagram are my friends, and I do think that they're genuinely happy. Otherwise, why the fuck would you put them in there? But what do you think of? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what
if
you're
you put the
saying.
couple, it's like, oh my God, he's the best. She's the best.
Well, I'll share something vulnerable with you.
Okay.
I think that Instagram is, I think there's two different types of people on Instagram.
Yes.
One person that wants to showcase their life as living just luxury, perfect, nothing is bad, and just post about happy moments.
Yeah.
And then there's the other person that's just a stalker. You know who I'm talking
I'm
about.
a stalker.
It's people that just have an Instagram and they just look at your stories. They don't react. They don't engage. They don't post anything.
Do they even press like?
And then there's another person, which I like to describe myself in this third category, as a real person. Because if you actually have taken the time to go through like my stories, yes, if you look at my Instagram page, you could be like, damn, this girl travels a lot.
Yeah.
But if you read what I write, because I'm a writer,
Yeah.
I write about when shit hits
Yes,
the
you
fan.
do. Yeah.
And I write about when I'm sad and
Yeah.
when I've made a mistake and when I'm happy. And for me, it's like I write about those things because the feedback that I receive from people that follow me is like, hey, thank you for sharing that.
You know,
I relate to it.
Yeah.
Because people relate to vulnerabilities because life is not perfect. And a lot of people out there think, oh, I want to be like that person. But you don't know. And when I say I'm going to be sharing something vulnerable with you is like, for example, like the last 3 months, like I didn't really want to post on social media because I just ended a relationship.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like a part of me felt shame in like, oh my God, I'm no longer with this person.
And by the way,
By the way, like it was a blessing, but that's how I felt.
By the way, I think that's a very normal thing to feel when you break up with somebody. I think we also need space sometimes. I mean, social media is it's a new thing. Like, think about it. When I'm an old man now. I'm an older man. I have
62, right?
63.
Oh, 63.
But thank you, though. Thank you. But when I was young and in the dating world, there was no social media. I mean, it had just started. But now it's a thing. It's like, he unfollowed me. Now it's like, what?
And like people have fake profiles. Do you have a fake profile?
I sure do.
Me too.
Well, okay, so this is what happened to me. I don't know. You probably got it. I don't know if you got it. Somebody hacked my Instagram. Here's one of the biggest.
I got a message and I'm like, wow, Christian, like I don't remember what the message said.
Yeah, like I have a gym or
you
something.
You were adding like an ad or something.
An app or something.
I'm like, he doesn't message me in 5 years and
I
he's
know
talking about his ad.
It was so embarrassing. So I got hacked. But one of the things that made me realize is, and it hurt my ego a little bit, I have to be honest with you, is I thought people care more about me than they actually do. They don't. It showed me in social media, and I'm talking about social media.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people love me, I hope. But it showed me in social media that we all have our own. It really opened up my oh my God, I'm not that important. You know how we overthink about a post? I'm never once again overthinking about no post. Because what I realized is I opened another account to start again because I couldn't get my account back. And I realized that most people don't post. Mm-hmm. It's hard to post. A lot of people don't post. And most people didn't even realize that my account was hacked. That's how important I am in their life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like, if they didn't see that message that the hacker sent, they wouldn't have never, because I'm not that social on social media anyway. And I realized how we are all in our own movie and we are all our own star in our own movie. And everybody else outside of our own self is just an extra.
Yeah.
You know, that's the reality. And when I saw that, I go, well, that's a nice little ego punch, you know? You know what I'm saying? I was talking to Ivan. I go, man, you know? And he goes, I was like, brother, I just realized that nobody gives a fuck.
No.
He goes, brother, they really don't. And it was a good thing for me because I am the kind of guy that I may want to show on social media just the best parts of or if it's my career, which is what I do the most, but nobody cares. Like, nobody cares as much as I think care. Like, I'm in my own movie, you're in your own movie, and it's one of the things. But I do like to follow. I guess I am a stalker at some point.
But some people do care, I think. Because there's a reason why people follow you. Like, there's people who literally, like, look at my stories. Like, because I have a creator's story so I can see. Like, I have fans. They
Oh,
don't
I'm
tell
sure you
me
have
they're
fans.
fans,
I'm
but
sure
I
you
have
You
fans.
have fans, girl.
So you have fans too.
I'm sure I do.
So
I've been having fans since
people don't
1990.
care like genuinely, but they care enough to look at. If you think about it, people spend how many hours on their phone scrolling?
A lot.
Well, they're looking at your
They
stories,
sure do.
and you have a voice. We all have a voice.
You all have a voice. And you know, that's one
Some
of the
people
part of the things.
unfollow me. I mean, because I'm not gonna say what people want to hear. I'm gonna say what I want.
How
to
many
say.
people have unfollowed you after you say something out there?
So
Do you actually keep track? Do you go, oh wow, this was?
No,
do you know
I
when
don't
you're gonna
keep
say?
track.
Do you know when you're gonna say something that is gonna it's gonna move some things?
100%.
You know from before.
Yeah.
You're like, if I post this,
Yeah, especially because I have a voice and I am not afraid of talking politics and what I think and things like that.
Shit.
And but yeah, you know. And what I said the other day, I think I posted something
What
like
did you say?
a few months ago.
Let's add
It
some more
was
people to
regarding
that
to
list.
like Republicans and Democrats.
Okay, talk
because I
about
really
it.
liked Robert
F. Kennedy.
F. Kennedy.
Sure, I agree.
And you know, obviously, like it was kind of a misfortunate that he went into the to Trump's.
Okay.
Like I don't agree with all of Trump's things,
Sure,
but
sure.
I don't think that the Democrats were doing a really good job the last year. So I think I posted a lot about him.
A lot of people
Robert,
agree with you, by the way. A lot
Kennedy
of people.
Jr.
Yeah.
I like his movement on health and what he wants to
Sure.
do. So obviously, like, there's people that unfollowed me, but what I said, it's like, well, I never even knew you were following me. So, like, again, it's...
Let me ask you something. What is worse?
And it's not conceited. It's just... So there's people that I follow. I only follow people if I am actually getting something out of it.
Yeah.
I stopped following people just because I'm a friend of theirs, or if you're not putting content that inspires me, bye.
By
And
the
I
way,
don't feel like the need to follow you just because you follow me.
we've been talking about that in regards to that we're coming to a point of our lives where we don't want to do things that we don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if we get invited to a place and we don't want to be there, and that's our New Year resolution. I'm like, man, if I'm uncomfortable, I don't want to be there.
100%.
At the same time, I gotta put myself in different situations because I bitch a lot about, I don't want to. And then once I'm there, I was like, I actually had a great
fun.
time. But same with what you consume in social media. I believe. See, that's why I like TikTok, because TikTok, if you start seeing something negative, you could just cancel that feed, and all of a sudden your TikTok starts shaping to what you really want to see.
Okay.
Which is, for me, it's like a lot of guitars. I watch a lot of guitars and musicians and stuff like that. But you have to be able to control what goes into your mind, and I think through social media, it's a major thing. Going back to what you just said, your mind has to exercise. And if you feed it negative or useless
100%.
information, it has no meaning in my life. Why would I be following you?
So funny enough, like my ring tells me when I'm stressed, relaxed, or restored.
Is that an Apple
And
ring? What is this shit?
It's an Aura ring.
Okay.
And basically, I do my little science experiments, and I noticed, like for the last week, that when if I'm sitting down in an hour, just scrolling through social media, not news or anything. Right now, like a lot of my explore page is on travel and things for the house because I'm doing things for my house.
Yeah.
I started to realize that my ring thinks I'm stressed and engaged. Stressed and engaged.
I agree.
If I read a book for 1 hour, I'm restored, which is where you want to get to, right? And I was thinking like, wow, maybe it's the blue light. Maybe it's the fact that you like different things are affecting you. And it might not just be negative, but I started to think about that and I was like, wow, like, so now I try to like just scroll like a few times here and there, not for an hour because,
it's hard. No, it does affect it does affect that in a big way. Well, Susan, I mean, I could go for hours asking you questions because I find you so interesting. Going back to your art, going back to you getting into that place of expressing what you feel through art. Give me a daily process of, do you have a daily process where you go, today I'm going to paint, or is it just, it hits you and you stop and then you paint? How do you attack when you do your artwork?
It just comes to me. I haven't been able to paint now because since I bought my
projects.
house, I am turning one of the rooms into my art room.
Okay,
And it's
nice.
not ready yet.
Nice.
So I'm limited.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to get into painting. Usually it just happens. Like people always ask me, like, how did you come up with that painting? Did you think about it? I never know when I'm going to paint.
Okay.
I never know what's going to come out.
Okay.
And sometimes what comes out, we turn it around. It just changes into something different.
It changes every time you do it.
So I never know what I'm going to paint. Like I don't look at a book. Like I'm not a drawer. Like most of my paintings are abstract. But yeah, you just
go with the flow.
I just go with the flow.
You're an artist. That's awesome. Do you have sisters? Are you an only child?
No. I have a sister.
Oh,
She
right.
lives here in Vegas.
You mentioned
Yeah.
before.
She actually works at Chica at the Venetian. She's a bartender.
Okay.
But she's
Have I met her?
I don't think you've met her, no. And then I have a brother as well. Yeah.
Here in Vegas?
Mm-hmm.
How come I didn't know this?
I don't know. And he actually likes music. Like he learned to teach. He taught himself the guitar and piano on YouTube.
Let me tell you something.
And the guy is learning music theory right now. You probably know what that is.
I don't know. Listen. My. You know what I realized?
Mm-hmm.
I was, my year's resolution was I need to post more. I need to post more. And this is something that I want to ask you. I realized that I was never that good at music. I was just in the right environment. And how important the right environment is for life.
Mm-hmm.
I got to play in some of the best stages in the world. I traveled the world a couple of times with music, right? But I was really never that good. It was kind of like a wake up moment when I was like, man, I really, compared to, real talent, I never had it. I was just very lucky to be around some great players that kind of took me in and they said, okay, you can come down. You're a nice guy. And that just shows me how being in the right environment, being in the right energy, is important because I'm super grateful for all of the experience that I had in music. I mean, it was great. I am super grateful. I played with some of the best musicians. I played in some of the best shows here in town, some of the best stages. Like I said, I traveled a couple of times around the world. And I did most that most musicians have done, being very inadequate musically speaking. But I was just in the right environment. So being in the right environment helps tremendously for many reasons. I'm a perfect example of being there. How does being in the right environment has helped you with your life? And like you said, you're very good at canceling bad vibes and energies. But how does being in the right environment, do you think that it's molded you to where you're at right now? Does that matter? Is that a big thing for you?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, to me, it's like I see every person as a door.
Yeah.
Because you never know when that door, where it can lead to, right?
Yeah.
So I think specifically me that I've been able to, I have more friends like around the world than I do in Vegas.
Yeah.
And genuine friends.
Yeah,
that actually check in on me.
Right.
So
Right.
for me, I think, being in the right environment, but I also think it's like your energy and your personality. Like you're someone that has great energy.
Oh, thank you.
From the moment.
Thank you.
I always think it's your energy that introduces you.
Thank you.
Not who you are, your name or
Yeah.
anything. So I also think it's that because
Yeah.
I think that, it lingers into other people and then they want to be with you because of your energy.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like if I want to go to a place in a different country and don't want to spend on hotel, I have a friend that I can call and say, hey,
That's awesome.
I'm going to come and visit you.
That's
Are you
awesome.
available?
That's awesome.
And you just never know what doors can open. But it's important. Networking and being at the right place.
Being at the right
and
place.
putting yourself in the right place sometimes.
Okay,
as
well, that's very important because if you don't make the effort and be uncomfortable a little bit to meet new people and to go to these new places to experience these things, how are you going to do it? I mean, at one point I did realize for myself that you do have to put some effort into getting out of your comfort zone to grow.
Yeah.
And that I think equals to traveling in a place, maybe stay in a place that I wouldn't necessarily take, but then learn a good experience on it. And Tokyo was one of them. I'm not a big fan, but Kyoto is the shit.
I love Kyoto, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like Tokyo I could do without, but Kyoto?
Yeah.
Come on now. I mean,
beautiful.
that's my jam right there. Arigato gozaimasu. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wow.
Come on, girl. I went to the 7-Eleven.
You're like, you're Japanese. Full on.
they're my peoples.
Yeah.
They're my peoples. We met some really nice guys. And then, Ivan, he goes into, he sends me up. He goes, Chris, I want to do a tattoo. I was like, that's great. That's great. Here in Japan, I want to do a tattoo. And he goes, I found a place. I want to do a tattoo. I was like, that's awesome, brother. I have no tattoos, right?
You don't?
No. So then he sends us a picture of my dad sitting on a chair getting a tattoo. Little reference. My dad is a very traditional man.
Yeah.
And he's getting a tattoo, and my girlfriend goes, no, that's a fake picture. He's not going to get a tattoo.
Yeah.
What is, So then my brother, then we meet them for dinner. They both have a tattoo.
Matching?
No matching, but by the same artist.
Yeah.
So I go, well, I need to get one now because this is a family trip. So here we are. It's 12:30.
You got a tattoo?
I got a tattoo.
Wow.
I got a tattoo.
It's your first tattoo?
It's my first tattoo. By the way, it was such a fast decision. You're gonna, and the reason why, let me tell you why I wanted to do it. Is first of all, I was with my family, with people that I love, in a foreign country, and what a better way to remember that trip, where your dad and your brother and got a tattoo by the same guy. So I did get a tattoo.
Show
Let
me.
Let me see if you can tell what it is.
Okay.
Because most people are like, I showed it to her nieces, and they're like, "Is that done?" I go, "What?"
Oh, it's a beach.
Come on, girl. Come on.
I love it.
That's my favorite place right there.
Yeah.
This is my happy place.
I like it.
The beach.
It's nice.
So I got it, and it was an incredible. So Kyoto is always forever.
I love it.
Going to have a special place in my
Funny
heart.
enough, so all of my tattoos that I have, I've always gotten them internationally.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start.
Start a trend.
Listen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start patching myself up. You know what I'm saying? So, I wanted to do one in Cancun, but my time is limited in Cancun, and it's too close to home. So I'm gonna do it international.
I love it.
Like you do.
That's what I do.
Well, Susan, I want to thank you for your time. This was time flew by. By the way, time flew by. You're amazing. Thank you so much. You're gonna have an art show. You said very soon. What do you know where that is? We can plug that in.
I don't have a date yet, but it's gonna be in downtown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have the place already. I just need to lock in a date.
Yeah.
And I do want to create some paintings before as well.
Susan, an amazing painter, an amazing person. I will put in your Instagram post, your Instagram name, so you can follow her and follow her art. Great, great art. I was lucky enough to go see one of her galleries. Some amazing things that she does. Thank you so much, Susan. You're the best. I appreciate you. And guys, thank you so much. Follow me, subscribe.